I always felt like your life centered so much about Robin's house.
That's his sacred cow. She's perfect. Don't dare talk about her. I'm like, well, dude, how do you expect to be in a plural marriage with me if you have this person that you worship?
Janelle has a card that says victim on it. She likes to play.
So this was the scandalous PDA everyone was talking about. I mean, seriously? With all the buildup about Christine and David making out in front of the kids, I was picturing something way over the top. But they held hands, shared a couple of quick kisses, and maybe there was a bit more enthusiasm from Christine than David, but even that was pretty mild. Honestly, they weren't even standing right in front of the kids when it happened. They were off on the platform where the ceremony would be. Compared to this, the lap dancing scene felt way more uncomfortable. As for truly breaking up their hand-holding session, that seemed a little much. And when Isabel turned away at the first sight of a kiss, sure, it's a bit awkward, but come on, moms are people too. Are we saying that being a parent means turning off all romantic behavior entirely? Now I'll admit, Christine is doing a total turnaround here. Going from modest is best to public displays of affection does seem like a big leap. Given how she raised her daughters with those values, maybe easing them in a bit would help them feel more comfortable. Then there's the rush to get married. Why not live together first, see how things go? We're in the 21st century after all. Anyway, just my 2 cents. As a German living in the US, let me say, the real issue isn't the PDA itself. The main concern is that Christine raised truly with conservative values, and now she's openly affectionate with a guy she's only recently met. Truly is visibly uncomfortable, and rather than addressing that, Christine moves full steam ahead, even bringing her daughter to look at wedding venues only weeks into dating. And this is coming from a very liberal European who's used to casual beach culture and no-shame saunas. It's not about the PDA, it's about the speed and how her daughter's feelings are getting sidelined. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. There's a real sadness in watching this season unfold, especially with Kody acting so angry and distant. Knowing he has only one more year with Garrison just makes me want him to drop his pride, walk up to his son, and give him the kind of hug that says, "I'm sorry, adults can make mistakes too." Kody's already experienced the shock of loss. He lost his brother in a car accident when they were both young, and you'd think that experience would make him cherish his time with his kids even more. But instead, he's allowing his pride and stubbornness to create such a painful distance between them. I've always loved this show. It's been comforting in a strange way, and I've followed it faithfully. But since Garrison passed, watching this season comes with a sense of dread, knowing where it's headed. As much as I love reality TV, it's hard to ignore the guilt I feel. There's a level of discomfort watching something that feels so invasive now. Maybe it's too honest to admit, but I find myself questioning my attachment to the show. The way it highlights these family conflicts and exploits them has consequences, and we're starting to see that price play out. Reality TV is fascinating, but watching this unfold feels different, like a wake-up call wrapped up in a show we can't look away from. What really bugs me about the new Flagstaff mega mansion is how it highlights the uneven distribution of what's been earned from the show. The kids were required to participate, and their involvement played a huge role in the show's success. Yet it doesn't look like any of them have directly benefited financially. Paying for cars, insurance, or other essentials isn't extra. It's just what parents do. And ideally, parents support all their kids fairly. Kody has always had the final say on family budgets, but it seems he and Robin have positioned themselves to control a disproportionate share of the show's revenue. If the wealth generated had been fairly divided among the original 5 adults, and if trust funds were set up for each of the Brown kids, then the cost of this mega mansion wouldn't be as much of an issue. What's truly frustrating is the disparity. there would be no mansion without the original 3 wives and their kids. Honestly, I don't think this outcome would be much different if polygamy were legalized. Kody's control over the finances means he has the power to make the big spending decisions, married or not. To give credit where it's due, though, Kody and Robyn are certainly spending their TLC money fast, and they might not have much left to leave behind. Meanwhile, the original 3 wives made smart financial choices independent of Kody. They've built businesses that bring in steady income, and they're using it to build secure futures for themselves and their children. That kind of foresight is worth more than any reality TV payout in the long run. Because, let's be real, those paintings and precious collectibles aren't going to hold any value in the end. So I was watching this clip from last weekend's episode, and Mary's conversation with her sister Rebecca and brother-in-law Nathan, who also happens to be Kody's best friend, was priceless. Mary mentions that Kody asked her why she didn't keep any of her sentimental things, and her response, sentimental? For a broken marriage. Nathan's response was the kicker. Is that how you see it? And Rebecca just gave him this epic, "Wow, you're such a moron" eye roll. Completely cracked me up. Side note, I've always wondered about Rebecca and Nathan. Were they ever in a polygamous setup? And does Mary have any siblings still practicing it? Anyway, Nathan's whole attitude was so dismissive. Mary could have said Kody set her house on fire, and he'd still come back with, "Oh, is that how you see it?" It's like he's dedicated to downplaying every single thing she says, as if Mary's somehow exaggerating when he knows she's not. Apparently, Nathan did have a second wife, but she left. I'm honestly exhausted by him and Kody constantly complaining about how unfair polygamy is for men, while claiming it's wonderful for women because they get to choose. They act like polygamy's some kind of amusement park where everyone's thrilled to be there. The reality? Polygamy often means entitled men with multiple families, while the women end up alone, struggling to raise their children and make two. The queen wife gets the resources, and meanwhile, the other wives and kids are left fighting for attention, healthcare, and any kind of financial support. But sure, keep calling it paradise, guys. I totally get it. It just feels like the show's priorities have shifted so much. Kody and Robyn seem to be getting richer, which frustrates everyone, and it's like the more we tune in, the more we validate their whole setup. Supporting the other wives is one thing, but honestly, they've built themselves up and can totally handle things on their own now. Maybe it's time for everyone, including the audience, to let the whole family move forward. Not out of judgment, but because they deserve something healthier than being America's pet polygamist family. I'm still shocked they continued filming after Garrison passed. This is difficult to even mention, but it's a big part of why I feel so disconnected from it all. That said, is anyone else finding it weirdly hard to look away? I get what OP is saying, but some part of me needs to see this story play out, even if it's lost its entertainment factor. I can't even explain it. It's like I dread tuning in, yet I still do. Anyone else in the same boat? Please, we beg you, dial down the audio during Christine and David's makeout scenes. It's giving way too much stirring macaroni energy. Signed, a disgusted fan. P.S. I don't mind the kissing, really, but can we please mute their mix during these scenes? The slurping is just too much. I'm doing a rewatch of Sister Wives with my nanny, and we just finished Season 6, Episode 12, where all the mothers-in-law come to town. Aside from Kody buying Robyn a gift that was probably 4 times the price of what he got for the other wives, something else really caught my attention. Robyn's mom, Alice. She does this bizarre fake sobbing thing too. She talks about plural marriage with 0 tears in her eyes, but she puts on that same exaggerated crying voice and shrinks her face like she's having a meltdown. I recognized it immediately. Now that I've watched more episodes, I've noticed Robyn's daughters doing it too. It's clear this is learned behavior meant for manipulation. It's wild that 3 generations of these women all resort to this. What do you all think? Did Alice pick this up from her own mother? And seriously, why hasn't anyone told them it's annoying and completely obvious? As for my nanny, she's more of a companion for me while watching than anything else. Anyway, it seems like they've all figured out that fake crying and playing the victim gets them sympathy and attention. The problem is, the original 3 wives and the kids see right through it. Maybe it took a bit for them to realize it because they initially wanted to give Robin and her family the benefit of the doubt, but eventually it became so monotonous that they distanced themselves from that drama. This is what you'd call generational victimhood and learned behaviors at play. Unpopular opinion alert: couples are supposed to kiss and hold hands. But apparently, Christine's kids missed that memo and seem stuck in a world where affection is just a myth. Honestly, most people have witnessed their parents sharing a sweet moment at some point. It's not exactly rocket science. After years of enduring a less-than-ideal situation, it feels like her kids are thinking, "We preferred it when Mom was flying solo. No need to imagine her as a human with, gasp, her own desires." Let's be real, it's probably not just the casual kisses that have them squirming. I mean, when my husband and I show affection, hugs, kisses, the works, our teens might roll their eyes, but if we went all out with the passionate makeout sessions, oh boy, I can practically hear their collective groans from here. There's definitely a time and place for everything. I was convinced everyone was overreacting about the PDA until I witnessed some of those intense moments, like when Christine and her partner were practically glued together in public. Sure, there's a fine line between sweet affection and making everyone around you want to claw their eyes out. A little playful peck might feel awkward for the kids, but when it escalates to full-on passion in public, let's just say it can be a tad excessive. Let's play a little what-if game. What if they hadn't aired the wedding special first? If the season kicked off with Christine and her new boyfriend, do you think die-hard Christine and David defenders would be so quick to sing their praises? It's easy to rally behind the lovebirds when you already know it all culminates in Christine's fairy tale wedding. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not throwing shade at Christine and David. I'm genuinely happy for her, especially since they just celebrated their 1-year anniversary. But let's be real, if this was happening in real time, and not 2 years later, watching Christine scope out wedding venues with a guy she's known for all of 5 minutes would raise some serious red flags. After all, it's not like David and his family were completely clueless about sister wives or Christine's single status. Sure, it all worked out in the end, but it feels like some folks are jumping to defend them simply because they know the happy ending. If we hadn't had that wedding special as a spoiler, we might have actually seen the development of David and Christine's relationship. Heck, we could have even witnessed her dating other guys. But instead, since we already know they're headed down the aisle, the producers are skipping the actual love story. It's like they're cutting straight to the wedding cake without showing us how they got there. So here's my theory. Christine is practically drowning Kody in PDA just to mess with him. I mean, it's about time, right? For years, she's been the punching bag, with Kody dragging her through the mud, playing the victim, and saying the most outrageous things about her in public. Now, she's turning the tables and playing a brilliant game. She's not just some knave player in this drama. She knows exactly how people and public perception work. Christine has kept it classy, mostly. She plays the moral high ground, acting like the bigger person while subtly ensuring Kody ends up looking like the biggest fool. Every time she shares a passionate kiss with David or Showerton with affection, it's a big middle finger to Kody. It's her way of saying, guess what? I dumped your sorry self, and I'm winning this story. But here's the kicker. While she's living her best life, her kids are squirming in discomfort over all the intense PDA. So maybe keep the theatrics for the camera and dial it back when the kids are around? Just a thought. The eternal question. What do we actually want to see on this show? Here we are, halfway through season 19. and I'm about as entertained as a cat watching paint dry. Seriously, I've resorted to fast-forwarding, praying for something, anything, that resembles entertainment. I mean, did you catch that TLC survey on Instagram a few weeks ago? The suggested storylines were absolute gems, like a tender looking for a church or my Kelty's weight loss journey. Groundbreaking stuff, really. Why do I keep tuning in to watch these lovable buffoons? If I'm brutally honest, it boils down to this. I want justice for Janelle. I'm done watching her get sidelined while Robin reigns over her mansion like some kind of polygamous queen. Janelle has been through the ringer, enduring all the same nonsense as Miri, but without the cash flow. It's enough to make anyone want to throw a reality TV-sized tantrum. And can we talk about Robin for a second? I'm absolutely fed up with this ridiculous Robin redemption arc. She's practically the villain in this soap opera, and yet she skates by without a scratch. I want to see Kody unleash his wrath on her daughters, Aurora and Brianna, instead of the usual targets. I mean, let's not pretend they're not adults. It's time they pack their bags and find their own way in the world. And don't even get me started on Robin's so-called family values while she denies Kody the chance to support Isabel during her surgery. Classic. If I'm being completely honest, I'd relish watching Kody and Robin crumble into a spectacular financial disaster. They've been so insufferable to the OG3 that it would almost feel poetic. Can we also get a family intervention from Jingyeol and Kody's brothers? Imagine the drama as they tear him apart for being so utterly whipped that he wrecked his own family. And let's not forget about Dayton. It'd be brilliant to see him turn on Kody and spill all the juicy details about the manipulation and lies. I mean, it's about time someone held Kody accountable, right? But if we're really laying it all out there, I don't even know what I want to see anymore. The show has become so stale that we're stuck on the same 3 topics on repeat. Kody's inexplicable presence on my screen, coupled with Garrison's tragic death, has sucked the fun out of it all. I watch now out of sheer obligation, like an old tired friend that I can't quite shake off. I grew up with this show, shout out to my fellow polygamy-era kids, and I need to see it through for closure. Everything has veered so far off the original path that it's hard to recognize. So here's my plea. TLC gods, please release me from this never-ending cycle of chaos. I need to wrap this up and finally put it to rest. Let's talk about the tell-all hosts, shall we? I think it's high time we shake things up. Suki, you're a decent interviewer, but let's face it, production clearly keeps you on a tight leash when it comes to the tough questions. And Kody touching you? Yeah, that definitely crossed a line. So here's my grand proposal. How about Dr. David and his wife, Allison, from Pop Psych? Or Nikki Haverstock and her husband? Sorry, I totally blanked on his name. A married couple could bring some serious benefits to the table. First off, Kody might actually show a little respect for a male interviewer. Let's not kid ourselves. He doesn't exactly treat women as equals and loves to steamroll right over them. Having a wife present would also be golden for debunking his ludicrous claims about marriage and his so-called duty. They're all well-versed in the show's lore, so they can fact-check Kody and Robin in real time. No more endless rehashing of the same old storylines. So what do you think? Are we ready to finally get some hosts who can cut through the nonsense and give us the juicy details we've all been craving? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.